Hi, I'm Brent. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to get started on some box jaw tongs. Box jaw tongs are very similar to flat bit tongs, except for the lower jaw has a U shape to it to assist in holding things firmly. I really like to use them when I'm straightening out tough materials such as this railroad anchor. They come in handy. What we're going to make these tongs out of is we're going to start with some 3/4 inch round mild steel. The longer one is 9.5 inches, shorter one is 8.5 inches. Of course, we're going to use the longer one for this lower jaw area because it's going to just take a little bit more material. We're going to start out by upsetting this and make this bar 8.5 inches, just like this one. So let's get started. Okay, we're going to take this 9.5 inch bar. We're going to try to upset it down to 8.5 inches. Starts getting too much bend in it, you almost got to stop and straighten it, or your hinge is going the wrong direction. Alright, let's see what we got. In 2 heats, we've shortened this bar by actually a little over an inch. Let's see what kind of diameter we got. 20 thousandths shy of 1 inch. We're going to isolate a little less than 2 inches of this bar for our jaw, our lower jaw. Okay, now that we have our lower jaw established, now I'm going to use a diagonal peen to spread the metal only this direction. Okay, here we go with a diagonal peen. Working on getting some more width. See how effective that was in spreading that out? Now, before it gets too thin, we want to isolate the end of that to more or less make a T shape. Let's get going. We're going to go ahead and use the power hammer to isolate that end for us. All right, we're going to continue to work this down a little bit. Looking very nice. I want to caution you from getting this area too thin right now. Every time you go back over your tongs, that area is going to get a little bit thinner. So you want to leave it thicker than the desired finished thickness as you work. It's going to get where you need it. We're going to continue to work this lower jaw a little bit. Get it like we want it. Don't forget, we're working in mild steel. If you're having a little trouble area, you can always cool the desired section of this steel to make it move like you want it to. You don't have that luxury of cool steels, but you do in your mild steels. So take advantage of it. We're very fortunate on this one. We don't look like we have any real trouble areas yet, but I'm sure I will eventually. Okay, she's looking good. We're gonna start on the next set down after a little heat. This is where a lot of things go wrong for tongs for some people. You always want to take your tong hand and roll it away from you, okay? This is our first set down for our jaw. This is our second set down. For the front of the hinge boss, you get at a 45 degree plus or minus on your anvil, and you start setting that down to about half width. Using a combination of my rounding hammer and the flat side, and just work it down. I like my bosses, my bigger tongs, at a finished thickness of about 3/8 of an inch. We're at about a touch over 3/8 and about 1 inch. So now we're going to heat it up and we're going to do our next set down. Now we're going to form the back side of our hinge box. So we formed our jaw here. We rolled our top hand away, tong hand away, 45 degrees, top away to do our next set down. Now we want about a 1 inch boss. So you turn your hand away again and got you a 1 inch mark on your anvil. Keep an eye on that. Move it out and you start setting it down. So another area I caution you not to let this get too thin. Every time you go back over your tong, that's going to get thinner. So leave yourself at least 5/8, because we probably want about a ½ inch of height there when we get done. Now we're going to start on our upper jaw. We're going to take and isolate just a little less than 2 inches. We're going to do a set down. This down. Maintain our width a little bit. Now we go with the flat side of our hammer. Maintain our width a little bit. Drop this a couple times if you don't mind. Okay, that's looking pretty good for our top jaw, one heat in. Now we'll start isolating the boss. This is our set down for our jaw. We roll the top away from us. Get the edge of our jaw, end of our jaw, and the edge of the anvil. Hold it out to 45, half on, half off, set down. Use our rounding hammer some. We're at about 1 by 3/8 with our second set down. One more time. This is our jaw set down. Turn the top away at a 45 for our second set down. Okay, we're going to finish the back side of the boss. So we're going to eyeball about 1 inch, and we're going to start setting down. Now notice I'm holding it at an angle to set down. That just gives me less rounding to do on my boss in a little bit. Okay, there again, be careful, don't go too much. In one heat, we got that set down to about 0.4 width and a 0.6 height. Now we need to start stretching out the reins. Hammer will actually move metal a whole lot faster than this. I'm not pushing it at all. I'm just taking my time and enjoying it. Our goal was about 18 inches. Let's see where we're at. We're 18 and a quarter or so. I think we'll have to go with that. Well, let's heat the nib ends up again and just start working them a little bit. Refine the hinge boss a little bit. Start working them up a little bit. Nice. Do a little bit of twisting in the vise. We're going to call this one good. This one is actually looking very nice as well. I think that's going to be enough for today. We'll finish these up tomorrow evening maybe. They are really looking good. The only major thing I think I see at this point is the upper nib needs to be lengthened out some. But we obviously have the material there to do that, so that shouldn't be a big problem. That'll be one of the first things that we work on. We turn the little forge off. She's starting to cool down, so we'll call it a night. Welcome to day 2 of the box jaw tong build. Right now we're going to start getting ready to punch these out. When you're marking your tong blanks to punch them out, always punch them, center punch them to mark your spot on the flat side. That way when you start driving your punch through there and you get prepared to take the slug out, you can turn it over on the flat side, put it over your pritchel hole, and drive the slug out. So always make sure you mark them on the flat side. The bottom jaw on box jaw tongs is a little more difficult, but we'll deal with it as we go. All right, let's see if we can get these marked. Okay, always flat side up when we start punching. Drive your punch down till you feel it starting to bounce a little bit. Okay, got a little bounce there. Roll your blank over. Go for the center of the shiny spot. Okay, there we go. Got a nice clean hole. What you'll notice there is when I turned it over to shear the plug, I didn't heat it again. You've worked that plug down to where it's thin enough that you actually want it kind of cool, so it's not as malleable, and when you go to drive it on it, it shears that plug and it comes out. And we're going to heat this up a little bit, and we're going to make that hole a little bit larger. We're going to put a 3/8 rivet in these. Okay, let's see if we can stretch this out a little bit. That ought to be good. Okay, let's turn it over now. We'll drive it in there from the other side. All right, that should be good. Now you have a beautiful 3/8 hole there. This step is critical to a nice operating set of tongs. We're going to bend this rein to where the top of that hole is even with your inside jaw or with the bottom of the rein. That allows us to do offset reins, which are much more comfortable on the hands. You'll notice I cooled that before I come to bend it, so I can hit on this without deforming our newly punched eye. This is a custom jig I've made. What we're going to do is we're going to form that box on that lower jaw. So I'm going to set it in here, and then I'm going to close that vise, and it's going to bend my sides for me, and they're going to be very uniform. Works really well. Get it centered in your fixture, and just start closing her up. Gives you a really, really good start on your box jaw. This next step is to offset the reins. holding 3/8 by 1 very nicely. That should be the finished upper jaw, tone blank. See if we can brush the lower jaw as well. All right, let's see if we can get a touch mark on this. Leave myself enough room to put the ear behind it. There are to work. Nice. That's a finished lower jaw, tone blank. Only thing we're going to do now is we're going to file this area just a little bit. It don't look like it needs much, just to make sure they operate smoothly. And we'll wire wheel them some to get some of the scale off. And then we'll rivet them. Now, to give them a nice finish, we're going to take these tongs and we're going to heat them up a little past straw into purple a little bit, and then I'm going to dip them in some oil. We have one complete set of 3/8 by 1 box jaw tongs. I welcome your comments in the comments section. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.